Hello everyone, this is Megan here with process video number 12. This is the first layout I am doing using this new kit I've put together. I have a picture here of my son's first birthday cake and some little pieces and bits and scraps of paper. Gonna use orange and like that blue and teal-y kind of colors on this layout. I gotta tell you, I'm not a huge orange fan when it comes to scrapbooking, and I've been using a lot of it lately and trying to get through it, but I've cut this paper down to 8 by 8, and then I realized I think that I didn't exactly like the size of that. So first I'm cutting down the photos a little bit and gonna mat them on this orange gingham paper. And I want to keep the photos off to one side. Originally I think I'm going to put them on the right hand side. So I'm going to cut this down, and then I start messing around with where I want the picture, and I don't really want too much of that Chevron paper covered up because it's really pretty. And this is where I'm like, oh well, you know, I should have probably left that a little bit bigger. So this is not in the kit that I just put together. I grabbed this from my paper pad, the homemade, Jen Hadfield homemade paper pad, and I grabbed a matching piece, and I am just adding about an inch onto the outside of that Chevron paper so it covers a little bit more of the orange. And I like that a lot better. So then when I put the picture on, the teal color, you can still see it behind the pictures. So I know I want that right in the center, so I go ahead and tape that down. Now I'm really trying to get the photos to work on that right hand side, and I just don't like it, so I move it over to the right hand side a little bit so you can see a little bit of the Chevron paper on both sides. And I put a strip of blue pearlized paper down the middle so that the edge of the pictures go over the top of it a little bit. And now I'm just going to go through all these little scraps that I have and see what looks good and what I can put in different places to get some of these smaller pieces used up. I decided that I wanted to outline everything. I thought that the two teal papers didn't stand out enough against each other. So I'm taking apart a little bit and going around and outlining everything. The orange, the teal chevron, everything so far that I've put down. And I'm not being careful about it, I'm just doing a quick line around. I think the only thing that I don't outline is the orange paper that I matted the photos on. But everything else, even that blue strip, that longer blue strip, I do that one too. And the thing about taping everything together and then trying to outline is that I always end up going off of the paper a little bit and getting a black mark on somewhere else. I think I did it while I was doing that long strip of blue, but I guess it's not too noticeable. I can't see it from here now that I'm watching the video, so. I'm trying to figure out what I want the title to be, and there's this sticker down at the bottom of this sticker sheet that says high quality. So I decide that I'm going to have the title be high quality cake. And this cake I bought it from Walmart. It's Duff, you know, the cake guy, Duff. He has a line of cakes that you can buy, box mix. And I bought this one that's camouflage, and it was kind of a pain to make, but it came out really well. And I'm sorry, I wish that I had a picture of the inside of the cake, but I never thought to take one, and then the next thing I knew, the party was over and the cake was gone. So I have a picture of the box and I have a picture of the finished cake after I frosted it. Now I found this piece of blue ribbon and I want to put that under the photo so it goes across the page. And then, yeah, I think I'm just looking for some little strips and things that I can use up. I was going to use, I used that pearlized blue to go around the sticker that says high quality, just because the sticker was like a light orange and it didn't really stand out against the orange background paper, so I wanted something in between. And I'm laying down the word cake, and I'm going to use some pop dots to pop up this part that says good quality, or high quality, sorry. This cake took, well, I made 2 boxes, so each box had 3 eggs in it. So for the cake that you see at the bottom in the picture, there are 6 eggs in there. And it was a lot of work to get all of the different colors in there and everything. But everybody at the party said it was absolutely delicious and super, super moist. So I'm going to try to use some of these hexagons a couple different times, and I just can't get them to look the way that I like them. So I'm going to try one more time, I think, in a little while, but they don't make it on there. I know I want to put some more layers on. I want an embellishment cluster up there in the left corner. Oh, here I decide I want to put a couple of strips down here at the bottom to cover up some of that plain orange. So I'm going to outline this strip that's left over from when I matted the photos, and I'm layering that underneath. And I want a little bit of this lighter orange, so I'm just going to cut off a small piece of that and outline that as well. And then I'm going to put that in behind that teal paper on the top. Pretty far in, I just want a tiny bit of it sticking out. And I think I might do one more strip down at the bottom. I know I want to use some of those gems, but I'm not quite sure how yet. So I put those aside for the moment. And this stuff is not in the kit that I put together, but I saw it sitting there and I wasn't having much luck finding embellishments for this layout. I couldn't really find anything that I liked. And finally I decided to try some of my brads. I knew I had some orange brads in my little brad container. So I go ahead and take out 4 of those. Excuse me. And I am going to try to space them evenly. So I use this clear ruler. It's kind of hard to see, but I have a ruler there. And I'm going to put some little dots down so that at first I tried doing them an inch apart, and then I realized that that's going to be too close. And with the actual size of the brads and everything, there's not going to be much of a space in between. So then I go to 1.5 inches. And yeah, I like the way that looks. So I'm going to start just poking a hole with my scissors. Said it once before on one of my other videos, I don't have a paper piercer or anything fancy to put my brads in. I just use my scissors, and very carefully, because it's easy to make a big hole when you only need a little one. So I just very carefully poke a small hole so I can get the brad through there. And so, yeah, that last one, I guess I measured wrong because all of the rest of them looked good. And then that last one that I put in was too close. So I moved that down a bit and covered up the hole and in between the other brads with those sparkly gems that I liked. And I really loved the way that line of brads and gems looks. I try a few more embellishments from the kit. I don't really find too much in there that I think goes with this layout, so I go back to those hexagons again, try them for a second, and I'm like, nope, they didn't work before, they're not going to work now. And so I find some small strips of paper and a small leftover piece of that blue ribbon. So I'm going to put that, I know I want to put that up in that left-hand corner. Oh, I do end up using one of those hexagons just to make like the top part of a small banner out of some different papers and ribbon and leftover stuff. So yeah, just one of the hexagons made it on the page. And I'm just outlining everything. Pretty much everything that goes on the page gets outlined, so I know I want that to go up in that corner. I don't want that much of it showing, so I just put it over the edge and cut the excess off. And, oh yes, I want to put another strip down at the bottom. Now this is kind of silly because I figure out where I can put it so that that hole in the center is covered up. And then I'm like, oh, I want to move it over a little bit. I like the way it looks when it's over here. And I start to tape it down and I'm like, oh, well that doesn't work because then the hole is out. So I flipped it around and put it in the other way, and I thought that looked okay. Wasn't the exact way I wanted it, but I used it. And I'm just going through my papers one last time, seeing if there's anything else that I can use. And I go through these small pieces from one of the Amy Tangerine papers, and I decide those aren't going to match. So this is pretty much the layout. I do a little bit of journaling down here in the left-hand corner about the cake and the date and everything. And that is going to wrap up this layout. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. I've got a few close-ups coming up so you can see the embellishment clusters. Thanks for watching. Bye!